to Unit 1. In this unit, we will study some vocabulary related to water. The words that we will study today are sea, ocean, river, stream, lake, pond, canal, waterfall, well, fountain, spring, hot spring, geyser, or geyser. You could pronounce it the way you want. Swimming pool, swamp, lagoon. Let's start. The first word is the sea. Or in plural form, I can say seas. Seas are smaller than oceans. Seas are usually located where the land and the ocean meet. Seas are partially surrounded by land. What does that mean? Partially surrounded by land. Partially. What does that mean? It means partly. In other words, usually we can find a sea near land. For example, I can say the Caribbean Sea or the Mediterranean Sea. There are plenty of other seas for you to find out if you refer the world map. Here is a picture of the sea. Now let's move on to the second word, the ocean. Oceans are the largest areas of water on Earth. Oceans are bigger and deeper than seas. Examples: the Indian Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and so on and so forth. Now you can see a picture of the ocean. I know what you're thinking. You're probably wondering about the difference between the sea and the ocean. In everyday life, when I say the sea or when I say the ocean, I basically mean the same thing or the same place. But when I'm studying about different bodies of water, specifically in a geography classroom, the sea and the ocean have two different meanings. To recap, let's look back at the differences. The oceans are larger and deeper than the seas. The seas can be found nearer a piece of land in comparison to the ocean. To find out more details, you could just open the world map and have a look at it or Google it. Now let's move on to the next word, a river. This is a large natural stream of water. A river flows to the sea, a lake, or any other body of water. Here you can see a picture of a river. Is there a river in your hometown? There is one in my hometown. We call it the Nan River. Now let's move on to the next word, a stream. This is a small, narrow river that flows. Here you can see a picture of a stream. Again, you probably have the same question. What's the difference between a river and a stream? A river is like a mother. It's bigger in size, it's deeper, it's faster, and it flows more rapidly than a stream. A stream is like the child of a river. It's smaller in size, It's narrower and it's not as deep as a river. Now, let's move on to the next slide. A lake. This is a large, deep body of water. There are natural lakes and man-made lakes. Man-made. What does that mean? Made by man, or artificial lakes. The water in a lake does not usually flow. When we compare a river with a lake, the main difference between the two is that a river always flows. The water is moving, or it's dynamic. But in a lake, most of the time, the water is stagnant. It does not flow. Here you can see a picture of a big lake. Next word is a pond. This is a small, shallow body of water. There are natural ponds as well as man-made ponds. The water in a pond does not usually flow. What's the difference between a pond and a lake? The main difference is in the size and the depth. A lake is deeper than a pond, and in terms of size, a pond is usually smaller than a lake. Here you can see a beautiful pond in a garden. Let's move on to the next word, a canal. This is a man-made waterway. Boats, ships use a canal to pass from one body of water to another. You can usually find canals near towns and cities and villages, and they usually flow down to a river, the sea, or the ocean. Here's a picture of a canal in a city. Let's move on to the next word. It's a waterfall. Water falls. This is a steep fall or flow of water from a height. Here you can see a picture of a waterfall. There are beautiful waterfalls all around the world, for example, the Niagara Falls. Let's move on to the next slide. A well. What's a well? This is a man-made hole dug in the ground to get water from the underground. Here's a picture of a well. Do you have a well in your garden? My grandmother's house used to have a well, but not anymore. Let's move on to the next slide. A fountain. What's a fountain? This is a piece of man-made architecture. It pours water into a basin or jets water into the air. It supplies drinking water and has a decorative effect. Here you can see a picture of a water fountain. I'm sure you'll see water fountains when you go to parks or any other public place for that matter. Let's move on to the next slide. A spring. A spring is a place where groundwater flows out of the ground. Some springs can flow throughout the year, while others flow only at some times, especially right after heavy rain. Here's a picture of a spring. Let's move on to the next slide. A hot spring. I'm sure you can guess what this is by looking at the adjective hot. This is a natural discharge of hot water from the earth. Here is a picture of a hot spring. Would you like to go to a hot spring right now? I would love one. The next word is geyser, geyser or geyser. You could pronounce it the way you want. Don't worry too much about pronunciation at this point. What's a geyser or geyser or geyser? This is also a hot spring, but the difference is that in a geyser there is an intermittent boiling of water, and this water is sent to the air as a steam, as a jet, in other words. Here is a picture of a geyser. Next word is a swimming pool. I'm sure you know what a swimming pool is. This is a man-made pool used for swimming. Here's a nice picture of a swimming pool overlooking the village or the town. Next we have a swamp. What's a swamp? It's a land area permanently filled with water. We can also call it a wetland. Woody plants like shrubs or trees grow in swamps. A swamp is usually near a river or a stream. Here is a picture of a swamp. Looks kind of spooky. The next word, the last word in our list of words today is lagoon. What's a lagoon? It is a shallow body of water protected from a larger body of water, such as the ocean, by sandbars, barrier islands, or coral reefs. Let's look at the picture. Here you can see the ocean, or you can say the sea, and then there is a small island. Where is the lagoon? Yes, you're right, this is the lagoon. As you can see, it's protected by this island. It's called a barrier island. It works as a barrier that stands between the sea and the lagoon. That is the last word in our lesson for today. Let's recap. Today we looked at the following words: sea, ocean, river, stream, lake, pond, canal, waterfall, well, fountain, spring, hot spring, geyser, geyser or geyser, swimming pool, swamp, and lagoon. That is the end of Unit 1. Thank you for listening. See you again.